He's not very bright. I mean, he is more like Anakin than you realize when you go back. Like, the prequels aren't that great overall, but they do match pretty well 4, 5, and 6. It does create a nice connective world.
Very true.
You get more up into how this movie led all the way up to Rise of Skywalker. Is kind of like thinking about Jason X compared to the first Friday the 13th. Welcome to Season 3 of Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Cliff and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest. The FBI teaches Darth Vader how to surf will not be seen this week, so we may bring you the following time theft.
The FBI? Wow, the FBI? What? Okay.
The FBI is going to teach me how to surf? And you'd be thinking, oh, are they watching Point Break? No, we're not watching Point Break. But we are watching, or we watched, 2 more movies for this 95th episode of Talking Pondo. Well, 95th of the whole series. We haven't done 95 of Talking Pondo if you want to get really technical about it, because there were those 16 episodes of Making Pondo. Go listen to them right now. And then come back and listen to
right now.
Right now, like Cliff does in the ending part.
Do it now.
So our films today are Star Wars from 1977.
What?
Not the 1997 special edition or any McClunky version that's been put out since on
the original 1977 theatrical release. Look, we'll get into it. We'll get into that, guys.
The other movie is not Point Break. The other movie is another old movie from 2016. How does this stuff go by that fast? The other movie is Hell or High Water, a film that in many ways resembles Point Break. But I don't remember Point Break getting a Best Picture nomination. But we're going to get into that.
Okay, sure. Let's do it.
You're robbing the banks.
You're short-circuiting my brain with the Point Break reference because there's no surfing, there's no mentor, relationship. There's no undercover guy. I guess cops and bank robbers, I guess, as I can see that part. But we'll get there.
Simplistic, the trope nature of it. But my brain was broken when I discovered that was a Best Picture nominee. I was stuck on short-circuited for about 5 minutes there.
Fascinating. You want to start with that one?
And then after, I think I figured it out. Yeah, I think it'd be better to start with Hell or High Water from 2016. How is it that old?
2016. I don't know,
it's
man.
It's really bizarre that it's like we watched another movie on here recently that was 10 years old, and it's like, how the fuck is this film 10 years old? It's just crazy. But this is another one of I guess it's a trilogy from this writer. And Sicario was part of it, and this is like the middle part and the third one. Hell, we might as well do the third one at some point about like some kind of like a Southwestern trilogy or something. But
anyway. I'm not familiar with. I wonder what that third one is.
Yeah, I think they made that one like in 2017.
Where does the third one?
They're not really like connected, but thematically. And what I would guess,
Wind River, is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah, Wind River. What I would guess
Jeremy Renner, Elizabeth Olsen picture. Okay.
It's probably something to do with banks, if I had to guess. But anyways, what is Hell or High Water from 2016?
Well, you'd be wrong about that. It's not about banks.
What?
It's not.
The banks play such a large part in this movie and Sicario.
Okay, Hell or High Water, 2016, rated R, hour and 42 minutes long. Directed by David Mackenzie, written by Taylor Sheridan, stars Chris Pine, Ben Foster, and Jeff Bridges. Toby is a divorced father who's trying to make a better life. His brother is an ex-con with a short temper and a loose trigger finger. Together, they plan a series of heists against the bank that's about to foreclose on their family ranch. That's your log line. Your storyline. In West Texas, 2 brothers go on a bank robbing rampage. They are targeting the branches of one bank, in particular, the Texas Midland Bank. This bank is about to foreclose on the mortgage on their ranch and claim the property, and robbing the bank to pay its own loan seems appropriate. On the trail of the brothers is a Texas Ranger, Marcus Hamilton, and with only a few weeks to go to retirement. Tagline: Blood always follows money.
Yeah, it's an interesting film. It really is, because it's one of those, like, once you turn it off, you start thinking about it and it sits in your head a little differently, and so I've actually grown to appreciate it a lot more over the last few days just thinking about it. But it still doesn't take away the fact that this thing is trope city until it's not, because it has a few little nice twists that changes it up. Even like in your description there, I'm a few days away from retirement.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah, he makes it his own.
We're gonna keep robbing banks until something goes down, because I'm the nice one who wants to go straight, kinda, and you're the crazy one. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen when they go into the bank that's too big. Is the crazy one going to fuck everything up for them? So it's that type of, that was the Point Break-ish thing where I was like, but it also told me that, like, that was around the time when the Oscars started going to 10 nominees for Best Picture. So they started
probably snuck in there for that,
extra things. And I was like, how did this get a Best Picture nod? And then after it was over and I thought about it for a few days, I realized, okay, just because it's laden in its tropes, there's a few spots that are so strong that I think that might be what throws it completely up into, this is got some really great moments hiding in what is a regular kind of heist thing.
Let me jump in here. Okay. So I think, personally, I think this is a modern classic. I think this is a neo-Western classic. I think, and here's why I think that. Westerns in particular usually follow a pretty straightforward formula. There's an obvious good guy. There's an obvious bad guy. The good guy wears the good guy wears white. The bad guy wears black. I'm reaching back to the 50s and the 60s and talking about these, because you're talking about these tropes, right? These Western tropes, right? And the movies,
bank robbery movie tropes in general.
True. Oh, well, I mean, bank robberies and robberies, stagecoach robberies, and all that shit are tropes of Westerns for sure. I mean, in fact, that's what a lot of guys were on the. Well, I robbed a bank and now I'm an outlaw out there and now they're hunting for me. But you think of movies like Warlock, right, where they take the trope and they take the idea and they spin it on its head and they make something successful and different on it. And that's why this movie gets it done and gets it right, because as many sort of tropes that you kind of have to tell a bank robbery story with two brothers in the Midwest in Texas, it seems to rise above the sum of its parts a lot more. David McKenzie and the cinematographer, who is that cinematographer? Hang on a second. They shoot the fuck out of Texas. I mean, Texas doesn't look this good. I've been to Texas. It does not look this good. And I think this is New Mexico too, to be honest, but they really got that like big sky, big fields, big land feel to it. And also, it's like that first spinning shot in the very beginning as they pull in to rob that first bank and she's walking in. You can kind of see that it's a town that's kind of like they nailed that like failing town feel, that the town that's where oil's left or industry's left and this town is struggling. I think that's why I think this movie really is better than the sum of its parts. Anyways, I love it. One of my favorite early lines in the movie is Ben Foster looking at her and going, "You're stupid." I love Ben Foster's character in the movie. I think he's fucking great. I really do. And I think it's, I'll give Taylor Sheridan credit. He doesn't, I don't think he's ever going to win an Oscar for his writing, but he tells a great yarn. You know what I mean? He's pretty good at writing he knows how to put all the elements into place to make a good story.
It's kind of like when we watched Sneakers.
Uh-huh.
And I said, you can make me watch CSI episodes, and I'm probably going to say they're good, but it's not something that I'm into, and this falls into that category. I like this a lot more than Sneakers, though. I will say that offhand. But what it feels like to me is it's almost like, and I understand you're supposed to try to make the greatest movie you can possible with the material you have.
Well, this is $12 million budget.
But it almost felt like a regular type of heist movie, but we're going to shoot it in a way that looks like one of these made for cable hour-long action drama where everything's heightened and got that pseudo docu feel. And I'm like, does this really warrant this level of heightened, like smug or something? I don't know. It didn't fit for me very well.
I don't find it smug at all. I mean, I think it's coloring and its shooting is sort of aping No Country a bit for old men.
Oh yeah.
But I also think
Cohen's, yeah.
Not necessarily Cohen's, but just that kind of shooting, that vast, like I said, wide open, big Texas. Texas is a big state. If you've ever been, it's huge.
But doing it much better than the person who made In Bruges. And this guy's a Scottish director.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm like, what's off here? Oh, it's somebody who's not an American doing Americana movie. Those always feel a little odd to me. But this one is a little better than In Bruges, and it's definitely better than Three Billboards, because this guy kind of gets it in a way.
I mean, it's like Wim Wenders coming in and shooting Paris, Texas. It's I mean, for some reason, in my opinion, foreign directors seem to shoot Midwestern big sky movies, these types of things, a lot better than we do at times. It's almost like it reminds me of the Full Monty, where it's like, why do English people do the whole down and out working man thing better than Americans do? They seem to do those comedies, those sort of whimsical comedies, a lot better. I don't know. But yeah, early on, one of my favorite shots in the movie is after they rob that first bank and they pull out on the Camaro and they've got that car that runs, that follows up beside with the camera. And it's got that great camera shot following in. So to where they're pacing alongside it, but they've shoved that camera into the car and he's telling him to slow down. He says, I ain't speeding and all that. You can pass by that giant debt relief sign and these empty towns and this, this oil refinery town that's just broken down. It sets the mood right away. I love when they rob that bank with that old man and he's like, you got a gun on you, old man? He's like, you're damn right I do. And he yells at his brother. He's like, would you pay attention to what the hell's going on? And they go running from that old man who's shooting at him. I thought it was a lot of fun. The dialogue felt real and spot on. His obsession with Comanches and being the Lord of the Plains is a very good character device and character trait. I like his face off in the casino with that Indian dude and telling him that, enemies within everybody with makes me a Comanche. I really liked quite a bit of it.
Yeah, I think I like it a little more than Sicario.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, until the parts that broke away from the tropiness, were just so into the trope of like, I'm the loose cannon, I'm the one with the plan who's got a straight mind. It was just bored me to tears until it finally got to towards the end. That's when I discovered it was a Best Picture nominee, and I was like, that's the most baffling Best Picture nominee of all time. I can't understand why anybody would care about this completely mediocre movie. But then it does a few things that are interesting that it holds till the end. And these are the things that's kind of rising it above. Jeff Bridges does a really good performance in this, and his character is very rich and nuanced. So when he does shoot the guy and he reels from it and he has such a feeling of like he's
almost crying,
upset, and that pushes it forward. Plus the twist of we robbed the bank to pay the bank with their own money because the bank was going to take away our land that we found oil on, and then we were going to have money. So how did you do it? When he shows up on the porch. And so to me, the whole movie builds up just to the scene where he kills the guy in the very ending. And those two scenes where I'm like, that's what's spinning this thing way higher. And I bet on a rewatch, I'd probably enjoy it a little bit more, knowing more what their plan is, how it's going to play out. The little things like you're going to be saying, you're going to miss all my racial shit when you're standing over my dead body. And turns out, I should have realized his partner is going to be the one who gets killed instead. Yeah. Gee, the movie's trying to tell me that.
Well, and that's, and I love the way, especially that scene plays out where he's crouched behind the car. His partner comes up behind him and he's got the AR-15 and he's looking, and then suddenly, bam, bullet hole in the fucking head.
Mm-hmm. You don't
And
think it's
Bridges
going to happen.
and Bridges almost is in shock,
Mm-hmm.
and Bridges is. I think this movie is, again, I agree with you. There are a few things that are very kind of basic in a neo-modern or in a Western or a bank robber milieu. You have to have a few things like this, right? But the twists come in, I think, in several different ways. You've got that great scene where they're eating dinner and he's talking to the waitress, and then Bridges comes in and makes her give up the money, and those four old men are fucking laughing at him. My favorite scene in the entire fucking movie is the T-Bone Cafe with the fucking old lady who's like, "What don't you want?" And they're both like,
God,
"What?" And she's like,
worst parts of the movie.
"Oh, I fucking love it." You know why I love that? Because that's that's the realest exchange in the entire movie. I've been to restaurants like that. I've sat down in many Midwestern or Texas type of restaurant and had a waitress, not to that level, but damn close to it. Damn close to it, we had some asshole come in here and try to order trout. We don't serve no trout. We ain't never served no trout. I'm fucking dying laughing. And the thing about it is people like from the Midwest find that shit very funny. It's very true. It's very genuine. So I thought that was really well done. It was funny. And I think that's the other part of the movie is that it kind of rings true. Those characters very much resonate as very real and very genuine. It's not Riggs and fucking Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon. It's these two brothers from down south who.
But he is getting too old for this shit. He is a few days away from retirement, so.
Well, that's Jeff Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
But at no time does he, say I'm getting too old for the shit. I do love how he's constantly picking on his partner. I think that's fucking great, especially when they're in the hotel room together, and he's watching his partner's watching the fucking televangelist shit. And he's like, "Come on, man. Like, no. Aren't you supposed to like worship the spirits or some shit? Like, can't we watch worshiping Jesus?"
And the movie does show a turning point with the two robbers where they decide to hit the bank that's too big, even though they knew better. And they end up killing people. And it's like, if you were rooting
for them before,
how do you continue?
Well, that's the moment where everything starts to fall apart. That's the part where like it's bad when his brother goes like, he's having the thing with the waitress. The brother's like, "I got to take a big old dump," and he goes across the street. And he robs that bank, right? Like,
I believe the line is, "I have to shit like a goat."
Yes,
or something to that extent.
That's exactly
almost my line at the end of the episode.
Yep. I have to shit like a goat.
But distraction because he's got to go rob a bank, because you can rob 5 banks in a row and nobody catch you. What is up with Taylor Sheridan and banks? This whole movie's about banks. And remember Sicario? I was like, when she goes in the bank,
well, there's one bank in Sicario. One bank. It's not all about banks.
But that bank played a very important part in Sicario. When she went in there, they
did.
noticed.
It did.
And so that's why I was thinking, well, this third part of this trilogy has got to have at least one scene in a bank.
I love how the waitress is like, "Fuck you, that's my mortgage. You're not getting that money."
Right.
And those 4 old men are laughing at him. The Waylon Jennings needle drop as they're driving through the country and "Let the world call me a fool." That shit is perfect. That gas station scene where Chris Pine kind of reveals, because to me it's like the movie plays early on like Ben Foster's the tough guy and Chris is kind of like you said, the brains, right, the weaker guy. And then they get to the gas station and that dude's with the in the green car, and Ben Foster and him are having words, and Chris Pine just shows up and just beats the entire piss out of him, and you go, "Oh, okay." There's no telling actually which one's probably more violent or probably more capable of this. It's just one has a little more self-control than the other one does, right? One's a little bit smarter than the other one. And I thought that was because they don't talk about that. They just show it through action, right? It's like that scene where Foster, in the early part where they go back to his house and he opens the door to his mom's room where his mom's sick bed was, where she died and all that shit. And he's kind of peeks in like a kid at first with the door kind of cracked open. And he asks his brother how long, she was in there. And then he pushes the door open. And then at the end of the scene, he's like, "Fuck her." And she never wanted me anyways. And he turns around and walks off, man. There's a lot to that. I thought it was really well done. 10 of me, I told you, is my other favorite line from that, where they drive off from that gas station. So, yeah. The Jeff Bridges, I think, like you said, is the best part of the movie for me. There's a lot of the movie's beautiful. I think there are a lot of great shots in it. Bridges is one of America's great actors. He plays against that other guy really, really well.
This is a movie my stepdad would have loved, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. Gil Birmingham plays Alberto. He plays off of him really well.
Now, there was something that happened pretty early on in the movie that was one of the most interesting aspects, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've seen cigarette acting in film, but this movie has vape acting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, this was 9 years ago. I don't see a lot of vape acting in movies and TV, and I think
you're right.
It looks weird.
It does look weird watching him vape on that thing. It really does.
It shouldn't, but it does. It made tobacco. They're probably like, nah, we don't even want the replacement tobacco products in movies. But it is interesting to see somebody having a conversation in a scene and he's hitting a vape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tobacco vape, because I guess he's trying to quit smoking, the character is my guess.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
Very trippy. It stands out, yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to be, and I think he's trying to he seems to kind of try to, like, his partner makes fun of him, but he's also trying to kind of show his partner, like, he's a Christian, so he's kind of, that's why he's watching the Christian television while he's in there. He wants to kind of, get that in his head. And, he's trying his best to make this guy that he admires, obviously, and likes and works with have better habits, is what I feel like. You know what I mean? Like, he's trying to be a good influence on the guy. And that, all he's getting is a lot of static for it.
Now, I noticed this has an extended version. What is in the extra 10 minutes?
I have no idea. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it. One of the things that this movie really stands out to me for is that it reminds me a lot of when I first moved to Tucson as a kid, right? Like when I first had to stay there for a long period of time. I'm from a part of the country that's very green. It's got red dirt. It's got green trees. It's got a lot of water. And I move out to Tucson, and there's no deep greens in Tucson. It's all olive drabs, tans, beiges. The cactus are maybe green for a month after the monsoons, and then everything's back to this kind of drab. And this color palette that they used in the movie very much reflected that, I thought.
What I hope I never see in a movie or TV show ever again is halfway through a film, somebody reconnecting with their estranged spouse who barely has anything to say and then promptly leaves the movie again for the most part. That might be the most overused trope, and I can complain about it because we made a movie where we did that same trope. So,
well, I mean, she shows up at the end. I mean,
but it's the same scene of I've been doing. Oh, you're the blah blah. It's like I mean, we saw the same scene in Midnight Run, but they did it kind of a little funnier.
I think it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit. I think the end scene shows a little bit of progress in the relationship, but I also understand what you're talking about. I also think that it shows like
game out of that.
It's like he told Jeff Bridges, none of this shit's mine. It's all in my wife and my kids' names. Right. It's all in a trust. Like, he doesn't even live there. He probably lives somewhere else.
And maybe one day he'll show up and give him the peace that he so desires.
There you go.
Hell or High Water too, where they team up and Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine team up and start robbing even larger banks together. You know what? I think I'd actually watch
that. I think it's a glorious movie. The death of the deputy ranger is so sudden. It's perfectly done. It's graphic. Bridges hunting down and killing him, and his reaction to killing him.
Yeah, that's the part.
Ben Foster sitting there, Lord of the Plains, and kind of being so satisfied with himself. This guy's completely lost. He's up there, shooting motherfuckers and being all happy with himself, and pow. I like the movie. It's got layers to it. It's not just a straightforward bank robbery. Point Break doesn't have any layers to it. Like Point Break is just Bodhi, the big wave, money, bro. And this has got a little bit more going on to it than that.
He got to surf the wave.
But I do agree the tropes are there for sure. It's definitely a troped bank robbery movie.
Like the Beatniks and Moon and,
But I think that it took those tropes and it took the same Legos that other movies used and it built a better building out of it than that.
It made me feel like this might have been one of the first scripts that the screenwriter wrote, maybe. Because it has kind of that feel of like I'm feeling out, I'm using tropes and then do a twist. And then like Sicario feels a little more filled out, even though I think I like this one a little more.
I mean, he'd been writing for Sons of Anarchy for 8 years, so there's no telling.
Who knows? Maybe this script was in the drawer for 15 or something.
Maybe, I don't know.
That feel of I think I would have really liked this movie if it would have had like an 80s aesthetic to it. Instead of like the modern camera look. I'm just like, there was something where that didn't mesh, where I'm like, I feel like this movie should be something else. I don't know.
This movie worked for me over and over again. I mean, I think that there's just gorgeous fucking shots when he puts on the blanket and goes out into the sky at night and he's walking and the storms are coming in and the blanket's blowing by. It's fucking gorgeous. I just think it's great. It captures Midwest small town. It nails it. It nails a lot of the characters. Like I said, you go to a place like the T-Bone Cafe, you're going to probably run into a waitress like that. That shit's hilarious. Well,
none of these characters are likable though, so it kind of makes me fear of the whole thing.
I think I disagree. I mean, I think that Jeff Bridges is very likable. He's irascible, but he's likable. I mean, his partner wouldn't work with him and do everything he does if he didn't like him. It's that whole thing of like, what's the intent behind the word? Is it the word itself that hurts, or is it the intent behind it? Right. And I don't think that Jeff Bridges' character has any intent. He's, poking fun because he's a fucking old irascible asshole. He's a likable guy.
Well, I never really liked either of the bank robbers before or after.
I liked Ben Foster, actually, I think more than I liked Chris Pine, but because I think Ben Foster
bigger personality,
bigger personality, and you could see he was a lit fuse. Like you could see that's part of the movies. You can see that he's going to blow up, and the key is his brother trying to keep him from blowing up so they can get this shit done. And like you said,
and
they
when
go
it
for
does happen, it's different.
They go for the big bank
and that's novel. Yeah. You don't see, and getting away with it doesn't happen a lot.
No. And I also, another scene I love is when he finds out his brother's shot. He helps him put pressure on it. And then he just pulls that truck over and gets that fucking fully automatic gun out because they're being followed by all those locals. And he just starts, those people are just hauling ass out of there. Yeah, I would too. It's a lot of fun. I think there's also a kind of a fun, sort of silliness to it too. I don't take it too seriously, like a good Western. But yeah, so I think, like I said, I think it's for me, a kind of a new modern classic. I think it's a lot of fun. You don't see a lot of Westerns that do it like this. Again, playing with the tropes, but also making them work really well.
Yeah. Outside of a few really brilliant moments, I was left wondering why I was watching the movie.
Well, because I told you to.
Well, I know.
That's why you're watching.
But like, I was like, what is it that, well, you just explained for the last 27 minutes why you like it.
It's a fucking bank robbery movie, Yeah, it's fascinating. I think it looks fucking great. I give it 4 stars.
All right, I give it 2.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth watching though, because there's some moments where there's some twists in there, and it might work better for you if you're more akin to the certain genre. I'm never going to say this is a bad movie. I'm just going to say it's a movie that's not for me. And you're going to go, oh God, here we go again. A whole podcast about Han Shot First? Maybe, but I'm going to try to delve into some other things that maybe we haven't thought of when we think of Star Wars from 1977. What is it?
Star Wars A New Hope. Let's see. Luke Skywalker joins forces with a Jedi Knight, a cocky pilot, a Wookiee, and 2 droids to save the galaxy from the Empire's world-destroying battle station, while also attempting to rescue Princess Leia from the mysterious Death Star. This is from 1977. It's rated PG. It's 2 hours and 1 minute long. Written and directed by George Lucas, starring Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher. See, storyline. Where is it? Seem to
It was
have
a period of civil
there it is.
war.
The Imperial forces, under orders from cruel Darth Vader, hold Princess Leia hostage in efforts to quell the rebellion against the Galactic Empire. Luke Skywalker in hand. That's not why they do it. She has the plans for they think she has the plans for the Death Star. Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, Captain of Millennium Falcon, work together with the companionable droid duo R2-D2 and C-3PO to rescue the beautiful princess, help the Rebel Alliance, and restore freedom and justice to the galaxy. I guess.
Something like that, right? You know what this movie's about, and if you don't, and you're listening to us for the first time, you're going to have an interesting viewpoint on this movie that they later retitled A New Hope, Episode 4. But when we saw it back in 1977, it was just called Star Wars. There was nothing else. There was this one movie. Now, what do you remember about the first time you went and saw this? Was it the opening shot? Do you have a vivid memory of that Star Destroyer going overhead, or opening scroll?
I think it's the opening score over the 20th Century Fox logo.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, I remember every time I heard that 20th Century Fox logo, I thought I was going to watch Star Wars.
Right.
Which, since Star Wars never came to like any kind of cable, and you only had that one VHS, like there was no chance. But like I was so stupid as a kid that I was like, oh, it's Star Wars. I did not realize that 20th Century Fox made other movies. But yeah, I mean, I remember that. I saw this at the drive-in when I was 4, and my mother had it was like an El Camino, and she rolled down the window. And I sat on the window ledge, and I put my head on the top hood of the car, and I put my hands on I put my head on my hands, and I watched the movie that way. And she says that's the quietest you had probably ever been in your entire life up to that point. She said you didn't move, you didn't say shit for 2 hours, like you just sat there and you just watched that movie. She said I've never seen you locked in on anything like that in my entire life. And so that for me was the first, and I saw it probably 3 or 4 more times easily. I remember seeing it in the theater a couple times, and that's when I remember like the ship passing overhead, and the river blockade runner, and then suddenly this massive Star Destroyer passing overhead, and wondering what the fuck's going on, and
right,
and yeah, that's the stuff I remember, and that score, of course, and then of course the scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I saw it in an indoor theater when I was 3. My sister Virginia took me to it. I think it might have been the first movie that I was taken to as a child. At least that's the memory. It's hard to say though, because it could have been like a Pinocchio or a lot of movies around them. But I know I saw it before I saw Grease or Star Trek: The Motion Picture, to mention last week. But it is interesting to just see how many iconic moments are right there within the first 15 minutes. I mean, just the Princess Leia putting the data disk into R2-D2, just the shape of that has become iconic. R2-D2, where are you? I mean, catchphrases are being thrown out left and right. We're barely 5 minutes into the movie. Set for stun. You get that weird circle. You never see that again. There's a lot of things in this film that you never see again. Well,
that's the film opens with no credits, which in 1977, I mean, now that's but back then, I mean, to go directly from,
can you imagine credits on?
Yeah, no, can you imagine directed by George Lucas, starring Luke Skywalker, starring Harrison Ford? Yeah, that would no. Instead, it goes from 20th Century Fox logo to black to dun 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 dun, and the scroll, and you're off and running, right? I always have to remind myself there's a person inside that R2 unit, that poor little person that's in there trying to make that shit work.
Now, speaking of the first 15 minutes of this movie, the first 15 minutes of this movie is unlike any other Star Wars movies opening 15 minutes, because it's still the 70s, which makes me lament there wasn't more 70s Star Wars movies. Now I know the holiday special will only get started on that, but because it has that almost surreal, like weird, you're dropped in the middle. What the fuck is going on? These robots are walking through the desert. It's very strange. I love it, but it's very fucking strange when you try to analyze it from the story perspective.
It doesn't make it, to your mind, it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But he world builds very quickly.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah,
like he, like as soon as they drop onto the planet, you get the two of them, you get the droids splitting up, right? So you get one that meets the Jawas, and the other one's got you get that big crate dragon skeleton behind it. And we didn't even know what the hell a crate dragon was. We just knew it was a giant lizard skeleton, right? So it's a rich world he builds. Droids, Jawas. Later we get the bar scene, which is so while it's mostly humans in the main story, so I mainly think so that kids can identify with those. The entire world, like you go to that bar scene is like, holy shit! Look at all the different aliens, and I mean, there's got to be 40 or 50 distinct aliens in that movie.
Oh, at least
just in that scene alone.
And isn't it such a good thing that Chewie, the link to the past, just so happens to be at Mos Eisley? Who would they have hitched a ride with if they hadn't been there? What a weird what if scenario, right? Because there's Chewie, who knows Yoda, who knows he was there in Revenge of the Sith. We just saw that in the previous chapter. Of course, when they made this movie, they didn't know all that yet. But it is kind of a trip to think, man, that's some good timing there, guys.
Well, and that's why this
gone
movie
really south. Yeah,
that's why this movie it's such a weird artifact now, right? Like it was brilliant when it came out. Nobody had any idea of any inclination of a film like this or doing anything like this. Lightsabers and blasters, the way they did the blaster bolts alone was so fucking just groundbreaking and sort of iconic. I guess what I'm trying to say is that when he's building this rich world, he's including a lot of different things, and he's moving you through it very quickly, right? But the problem with it is that it was such a brilliant. If it's a standalone movie or if it's within the original trilogy, it's this brilliant film, right? That creates this world. But when you start building on it and building on it and building on it, and by the time you get to the prequels and then later the further sequels, and you go back to watch Star Wars, you start to have these weird questions like, of course Ben knows that fucking droid. Of course he knows who R2-D2 is. Are you fucking kidding me? That's his best friend's droid. Well, then he's a terrible liar, or he's the best actor in the world, I guess, because
Luke ain't the swiftest guy in the world. It takes him about 10 minutes to realize why the Jawas are dead,
Okay, true. But it's this like, I don't remember having a droid. By the way, just real quickly, buddy, here's this archaic, all-powerful weapon that your father left behind. Here, I don't want to give you instructions on how to use it. Here you go. And point it at your face, whatever you do. First thing, just point and look right down at it before you.
But it is brilliant when he delivers that line of, I don't remember having a droid, but you can see behind the eyes is like, this shit's coming to a fucking head. Like, because he knows that this shit, if he's seeing R2-D2, he knows everything's come home to roost at this point. There's no hiding anymore. There's no hiding Luke.
Somehow he just finds Chewbacca at fucking Mos Eisley.
That is fucking luck. Who knows what kind of ship they could have ended up on? But it's funny.
And not to mention C-3PO. I mean, Darth Vader built C-3PO, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, you want to go even weirder than that? Apparently, there's no R2 astromech specialists anywhere, especially not on Yavin 5. Hey, this R2 unit we just fixed up, you know how fucking old this thing is? This thing is from Naboo. This is a royal droid. How the fuck did this get here?
Yeah, how did you get this here?
Nobody ever notices because all the must be so many R2 droids. They've been, they all look the same. But that's the droid from the fucking Nubian ship. That
Mm-hmm.
droid knows everything, which it leads me to this note here. Oh, may the force be with you. Well, with R2D2 in your ship, I think you're good. Because R2D2 is basically the force. What happens in part 7? The Force Awakens. R2D2 wakes up. He's almost like a physical embodiment of the Force. You can fuck with him, you can deactivate him, but you can't destroy him. If you're with R2, if R2, he is the Force, R2 is Star Wars in his essence, I feel. If R2 was a character in Dungeons and Dragons and he was on your team, you would get like a plus 30 from just entering the fucking room by having him with you. But nobody notices, what is this fucking Naboo droid doing here? Where did you get this thing? Well, I picked it up from a Jawa on the block. What the fuck? Do you know how old this is? And don't even get me started on this fucking interpreter droid. He's pretty fucking old too.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, and he looks handmade. He looks like he was a kit or some sort of interesting. Wonder how you figure that out.
Since
the burned bodies are pretty graphic.
Oh, charred bodies.
Yeah,
heroin,
charred bodies.
And that goes right into heroin droid scene. This movie's pretty dark too. We say Empire's the dark one. There's some nasty fucking shit in this movie.
That round droid coming into Princess Leia's room with all the things sticking out of it. It's like, that's creepy, dude.
The heroin droid, I call it. It's the torture droid, I believe.
I love the
Jedi lacks that edge. Jedi doesn't have creepy shit like that.
No. Jedi's got Ewoks. No. I love the bar how when they cut back to the bar at one point, the band starts a new song and the whole bar's like, yeah, like, oh, they picked a real, I was like, I love that. That makes me laugh every time. That 3D chess game on the Millennium Falcon is dope. And it looks like stop motion Ray Harryhausen figures. You know what I mean? And that's the sort of like attention to detail, like, the Empire is very clean and orderly, right? Everything's new and nice looking and shiny. And the Rebels and Millennium Falcon and
it's
the speeders,
not slow paced like this.
They're
one.
all
This is a slow burn.
But all the Rebel stuff is all beat up and very dirty and analog and kind of thrown together. And you can really tell the difference between the two and that sort of thing. It's really, really great. And again, this is 1977. Just nothing like this existed.
No.
Nothing. People nowadays are so spoiled because they don't understand what a fucking massive impact this had on your entire. This follows the Joseph Campbell hero myth, which is Luke Skywalker's whole. He's a young farm boy who finds out he's got secret powers, and he finds a wizard who helps him unlock his powers and trains him, and then he meets his friends and they go on a quest, and he has to fight the evil. That shit has been done everywhere now, and it's insane. This movie, the cultural impact of this movie, the professional impact of this movie it's unbelievable.
It's a 70s movie unlike any other in a way, because it does have its sense of nihilism in the kind of slow, trippy pacing, but the hero wins.
Right.
Which is a little different. So it kind of starts to pave the way for the 80s, where it would be a lot more action-packed.
Yeah, and the hero winning a lot more. We wanted in the 80s to see the hero. We wanted to see fucking Rob Lowe beat the shit out of that guy in Youngblood. We wanted to see him win,
So this is a bit of my centerpiece, I guess you would say. So compare Star Wars to Sorcerer, the movie that it came out almost the same time as, and it killed it in the box office. And you can even throw Fright Night into the mix a little bit. All three of these movies take the first half to set up the movie, and then about the middle point where everybody's finally hooked up, boom, we're off and running. And so it's that kind of 70s filmmaking. Well, all the Star Wars sequels don't have that. I mean, maybe Rogue One a little bit, right? But
I think Empire takes a little bit to set up, but it doesn't take as long.
Yeah, and they already know each other and stuff.
Yeah, but that first one that I think that's the charm of it, is that it does take a while to set up, but everything that you're watching is kind of riveting and fun to watch and
Right.
interesting. So you're never bored. You're never checking your watch or wondering where this
Mm-hmm.
is going. You're just kind of following the young kid and the droids along on this weird adventure, right?
Right. And speaking of checking your watch, let's go through the pacing and discover exactly why this original version of Star Wars works. And like I wrote down, it's not so much the changes they did to the special edition, it's how they fucked up the pacing of the film, where things are supposed to happen at specific times. Throwing things in like the Jabba scene in Mos Eisley, it's it's like your beats are off. I feel like the guy in Whiplash going, "That's not my beat. That's not my beat." So at 16
Not
minutes
exactly
in,
my time.
yeah, right. That's the line. So 16 minutes in, we meet Luke. We don't meet Luke until 16 minutes into the movie. That's
Yeah.
wild. When do you think Han Solo shows up? 47 minutes into the
47 minutes in.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes him a
Wow.
minute.
So it does take
Well,
some build up.
when does Obi-Wan show up?
He's probably somewhere
20,
around the
25 minutes
20
in
or
there.
30 mark.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very, very mathematical. And then you have 53 minutes, the Falcon takes off. And then at 1 hour and 1 minute, the precise midpoint of the movie, in this version, they arrive at what was Alderaan. Now, if you put that job and that other stuff, that's being pushed like a 5 or 6 minutes. And so these subtle things in the pacing and also the removal of all those lovely dissolves that I've missed throughout the years, or like the retake of the same R2 shot, they clean all that stuff out and it gets rid of all that handmade feel to it. And I feel like those special editions kind of, the movie's so good that it rises above it, but the pacing in this one just feels like somebody re-recorded Sergeant Pepper's or something and put an extra measure in the middle of it. And it's like, wait a minute, you can't do that. It fucks it up. At 1 hour and 13 minutes, they are rescued. 1 hour and 15 minutes, they finally all meet. It takes 75 minutes for Han and Leia to finally exchange words before they jump in the garbage chute.
Yeah. And they aren't nice ones.
And then the team's all together. Oh, I'm going to go into that a little bit here, too. 90 minutes into the movie exactly, we escape from the Death Star. It's like this precise timing in a 2 hour and 1 minute movie. And then to the Death Star approach in the final hour, 42 minutes. But once they all meet each other 75 minutes in, boom, it's an action film. But this brings me to my other point is Luke and Han, they're not friends, are they?
No.
As a kid, I always kind of thought they were chummy and buddy, and you look at it now and you go, they've only known each other a matter of hours. This is most evident after the getaway where Han's hanging out in the back. He's not even sitting next to Luke, who's all, I'm going to join the military. And you know, Han from the Solo movies, like, been there, done that, kid. Not doing it again. But they've only barely known each other. He barely tries to rescue him from the trash compactor monster. He's kind of like, whatever. You know, he kind of pseudo gives up. And he's just riling up Luke from the beginning. I could fly that ship, and you better not hit on Princess Leia and all that. And Han's just laughing to himself.
It's a much
really
more
buddies. So no wonder Han Solo's kid's an asshole, right?
Well, it's an adversarial relationship. They're both vying for Princess Leia's attention or affection.
It's Nate and Hayes.
One of the things that I remember, I went to the special editions when they were released in theaters, and one of the things I remember liking was I was so used to the original series that I really enjoyed seeing this extra footage. Like, well, oh, you shot that and it just wasn't good enough, right?
Neat. Yeah,
and it was cool to see like this extra stuff, right? But what I didn't realize was that Lucas was going to go, that's it. That's the new canon, and you can't have the old version anymore.
That's the worst. Yeah.
And the version that we watched is the 1977 4K restored project, and it looks so good, and it looks just like it looked when I was a kid. You know, there's that great light difference when the sun's not fully going down, but it's obviously late afternoon on Tatooine. And then here comes R2-D2 into that canyon, and suddenly it's kind of dark, and the Jawas hit him and they capture him, you know. And then when they finally get him to the Sandcrawler, it's gone completely dark, you know. later on in the special edition, that stuff's kind of lightened. It's the levels are different, right? And because they want you to be able to see, because it's almost too dark. It's almost it's day for night, but it's almost too dark to where you can't really see what's going on. And they went and they fucked with it.
They want it to look like the prequels coloring.
Right. So it's.
I just wish they had the original available.
Yeah. Exactly. That's my thing. I prefer the original. I don't mind special edition because it's fun to see. It's fun to see Lucas go, here's some stuff that almost made it that would have been cool. Mm-hmm. But, changing, and this whole, Han Greedo shot first shit is terrible. That's just fucking.
Han is the only one who shot.
Yes, period. Yeah. That's it. Han Solo is a deadly motherfucker.
It's a shot of Greedo kind of exploding because the shot's going at him is what you see. Yeah. You don't see a shot from the side where the laser crisscross.
God, no.
That stuff is it was fun the first couple times, and now I'd be like, it's pulling me out too much.
I remember when I was a kid, the first couple of times I saw that shot, I went, what the hell just happened?
Right.
And then Solo gets up and puts his gun away. I'm like, oh, he shot him from under the table. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. That's fucking okay.
And like the X-wing battle at the end, they've changed all of the ships, and so the pacing on that is different than in the original version. And watching it again, it was like it felt like a glove. It felt like I'm used to it hitting on this in specific music beats at certain moments, and they change it, and it's like, what? Why are you altering one of the most successful game-changing movies of all time and not leaving the original version there for us to compare it to see at least what you changed? And we could go, yeah, the new version's better because I can see the old one right there. And you can only get the old one in a non-anamorphic copy unless you can find the one we did.
It's very much like George has been telling himself this story with miniature figures or Legos for a very long time. And when he finally got the opportunity to do it in real life, he made this elaborate, detailed world with these fantastical stories and these fantastic characters. And, some of it worked and some of it didn't. You've got the whole holy shit, he kissed his sister thing. And then you've got all the weird retconning. But in the end, if you're a Star Wars fan, you kind of overlook it because you just want more Star Wars.
Right. Well, he knew how to shoot it, but I don't think George knew how to edit it, because the movie was edited by his ex-wife.
His wife, yeah.
And then once all that ends and the alimony and stuff, and now I'm going to completely destroy her edit for all time. Thanks, George. Thanks for being that vindictive. You can't find anything about this story online, so maybe it's not true, but I remember reading it in books. That's why he didn't put out any movies until Phantom Menace. Is the story, is the myth, is that it was all because of that. But it's also destroys a lot of the original FX artist's work too by changing it.
Well, the myth is that he had to give his wife so much of his work. I guess production. For the next 10 years, their divorce, she got anything that he made, 50% of anything he made. So he went off and made,
the sequels took so long.
He went off and made fucking Howard the Duck.
Radio Land Murders and stuff like that was the legend. Yeah. And then it was like, not only did I do that, I'm going to erase her legacy by recutting the film so all of her edits are gone. Now, is this true? We don't know. This is
allegedly
in a podcast. This is alleged. But you kind of go, let's hope that's not the case. But at least hardcore fans have kept the movie in its original version, and you can find it if you look for it. Now, speaking of what's going on in this movie, first time I saw it, I thought they blew up Darth Vader and not the Death Star, because a 3-year-old mind who's been up too late at the movies doesn't know what's going on. And so a few viewings later, I figured out what was going on. But watching it again this time, and it always reminds me of it when I watch it, but this time especially, the up too late watching the Death Star run in the theaters as a kid vibe, where I'm kind of semi falling asleep because the movie's so long and it's been a long day and they're just going down that trench, but the music's loud and it almost feels like you're in a club because it's kind of distorted and it has that weird kind of trippy, I'm just enveloped in the movie. I remember The Wiz did that to me too when I was a kid for some reason. It had that kind of analog vibe, and it was just, that scene always takes me back to those first screenings of it in the theater. Also, we've talked about sitting all the way through end credits. I think this movie might be responsible for me sitting through end credits, because you want to sit there and you want to hear all that Star Wars music. It's like it's part of the movie. I want to hear those refrains and then the, I can't turn this movie off when the credits start. I have to watch the 4 minutes of it because I won't need to hear that music. It's like some movies I can cut it off, but this one it's like, no, I want to hear that.
Word. No, I know what you mean.
What else did I write here? The fact that good follow-ups to this were made at all is a small miracle. Because this movie is such a scrapper in the first place, it wasn't supposed to work. Like some kind of glamorized Hammer movie that the crew thought was a joke when they were making it. And somehow they managed to make movies that some would say might even be better. Like Empire. Some people, Jedi is their favorite. The prequels still fit. And then you get to the Disney era, which I just look at as it's fanfic. It's like a different continuity, Force Awakens forward, because some people's Chewie eats people and some people's Chewie doesn't.
One of the things about his wife that should be mentioned is that she won the Oscar for film editing for Star Wars.
And we can't see it.
And she was, we can't see the version that she would. She also was nominated for American Graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, you're right. She was obviously a very gifted editor.
Yeah, she gets away from him, and he's not making as interesting movies. It's a trip.
You know what else she edited? Taxi Driver.
Of course.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do I have here? That's for that page, and then
I think at least that's what it said. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's not. Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. American Graffiti star. What's the? Oh, she was a supervising film editor on Texas
Restaurant.
So she did.
Forget Martin Scorsese's responsible for Kiss My Grits. Rest in peace, Polly Holiday.
Kiss My Grits. We love you, Polly Holly.
He is responsible for that by proxy, right? As a little kid,
Kiss My Grits.
I didn't realize the Alice TV show was based on a Martin Scorsese movie when I'm 7.
I didn't either.
But it's weird when you think about it now.
Yes, when you think about it now, it's very weird.
My other note was, that early, of course you've seen the movie, that scene with Uncle Owen early on where he's telling him, I want to leave. No, I got to keep you on another season. That's another perfect example of a scene that is completely unique to this Star Wars movie. There's not another scene that feels or looks or sounds like that in any other Star Wars film. There's no score there. It's because they're still figuring out what makes Star Wars. I just find it completely fascinating, that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Fascinating, Captain.
Fascinating, Captain.
I didn't even mention Chris Pine, Captain Kirk, last week. Captain Kirk. Boom. But
Chris Pine is an excellent actor, and he was excellent in that film.
Have we watched 4 Chris Pine films? Because he was in Bottle Shock, right?
He was in Bottle Shock.
He was in D&D, right?
He was in D&D.
Wow, so he's been with us from the beginning.
He's in Hell and High Water. Mm-hmm. What else? What's the 4th one?
Well, there was the Hell and High Water.
Yeah.
The Bottle Shock.
Bottle Shock, D&D.
D&D.
What's the 4th one?
Oh, am I acting like we already watched his Star Trek movie?
I think so. Yeah.
Might be. And once we stop recording, I remember the movie it was. Now it was. I feel like there was another one he was in.
Oh man, you got anything else on Star Wars? I do. My first 2 movie crushes are Princess Leia and Marion from Raiders. And I've been in love with strong women ever since. The trash compactor scene is a great piece of misdirection. They escape a hot gun battle and you think they're going to be safe. You're going to get that kind of chance to breathe. And then suddenly you get the space worm and, everybody screaming and trying to get out of it.
They let us go. Well, they didn't seem like they were letting you go.
Seem like they let us go. Yeah. I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16 back home. Hey, kid, how about you shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
Like, you know, do I really have to listen to this fucking farm boy who just showed up, some rookie who hasn't seen a second of action, tell me about how he can bullseye womp rats? How about you suck it?
He's not very bright. I mean, he is more like Anakin than you realize when you go back. Like, you know, the prequels aren't that great overall, but they do match pretty well 4, 5, and 6. It does create a nice connective world.
Very
and
true.
You get more up into how this movie led all the way up to Rise of Skywalker. Is kind of like thinking about Jason X compared to the first Friday.
To be honest with you, when I watch the original trilogy now, I always bump Rogue One up in front of it because I think that Rogue One bumps right up to Star Wars kind of perfectly. And I really like that. I really like to watch. I love to watch Darth Vader cut through the whole thing and then the ship pull away and him standing there. And then we cut right to Star Wars with the ship pulling off. And then I fucking love that. It's amazing.
Revenge of the Sith connects right up too because you got Obi-Wan on Tatooine. So
exactly.
Interesting world of Star Wars movies. There's a lot of them, and I'm sure we'll be getting to many more of them at some point. But this is episode 95. I wanted to get Star Wars underway before we hit 100. So.
Well, I'm glad we kind of got it out of the way. I'm glad we waited.
That made Pondo, didn't it? Right?
Very much. It's very much a Pondo influenced movie. I'm glad we waited this long so that we weren't. So that we were kind of prepared and we're more comfortable in the podcast. One of my other last things is only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise. Precise. Only in this fucking movie are stormtroopers precise, sir.
That's why
only in this one.
You go back to the Reels of Justice case, Star Wars versus Empire we did, where I was like, Empire is the reboot from which all the rest of them spring from, because you kind of have to scrub some elements.
It's the perfection of what George came up with in the first one. That's why I kept saying it was the fulfillment of the promise, right? Because it was like, here's Star Wars. I have all these ideas, and look how cool and neat it is, and I have all this cool shit. And then Empire goes, oh, thank you. We'll take that and do a really cool movie with it.
Once Star Wars is established, perfection.
Yeah.
But there's still something absolutely amazing about watching Star Wars appear out of nothing.
Oh, sure. Sure. And it's again, I can't think of in my lifetime, a more culturally significant film or a film that's had a bigger impact on film itself.
So it was Oscar week again. Who knew?
I mean, the dude created Industrial Light and Magic out of this, which it went on to do Skywalker Ranch, Skywalker Sound. He touched so many films with this one film. He was able to make so many other films better by saying, well, come into Skywalker Ranch. We'll do your effects. Come into ILM. We'll help you with this. I mean, think about that. Think about the 80s and 90s.
The point of George as a director has always been he is pushing the technology forward with this movie. It might not really be the story. So you can rag on Attack of the Clones having bad dialogue, but what he's doing is still pushing the technology forward.
I mean, his first film, the first major blockbuster shot with a digital cameras, 1080i. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you give it?
Oh, I give it 5 stars.
I give it 5 stars.
5 stars would be ridiculous, I think.
Yeah, I agree completely. Rest in peace, Porkins.
Seriously. Yeah, may the Force be with you. Dude, I got R2 with me.
I got R2. R2 is the Force, and I'm good to go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it boils down to is R2-D2 is like, for me, he's the ultimate, I guess you'd say he is the ultimate Star Wars character because he just embodies all the eras, You've heard that theory that basically the Star Wars movies are about those 2 droids, right? Well, it is,
the theory is that, hey, basically the Star Wars movies are basically just about these 2 droids and their experiences in this crazy world,
and that's why
it kind of makes fucking sense.
Why the sequels don't work as well, because they don't have a good R2-D2. They got the BB-8, but they don't do enough with them.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think we've said some stuff about Star Wars that you haven't heard before, I hope. trying not to retread the same. We didn't even bitch about Han shot first that much. See,
just just look. He
you have
did
to
get
bring
over
that
it.
up.
We're done. It doesn't make the character bad because of it. It makes the character smart and slick, and because he knows Greedo's going to kill him anyways.
Yeah.
So you might as well get the guy first.
We were told Mos Eisley Spaceport, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. So why can't he shoot Greedo?
Exactly. He's part of the wretched hive of scum and villainy. That's why he's there accepting a shitty job from some weirdo wizard.
It's a ship that made the Kessel run in less than
12 parsecs.
Mm-hmm.
Get 0.5 past light speed.
And it makes me think, could there be a good 90-minute Star Wars movie? Because they're always long. And I'm thinking, yeah, I think so. You start Solo with the Sabak game. So you cut off all of that stuff, early stuff, so it's just about the Kessel Run race. About a good 80
You don't
minutes.
Want to see how he met Chewbacca and all that stuff?
Yeah, you don't need that. Just start right with him meeting Lando and the game, and then it's all about the when we eventually cover Solo at some point, maybe.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it'll be a bit, I would think.
So what do you got for me next week?
Okay, so next week, wow, I can't believe it. It's already going to be the week of Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir.
So it's coming up on Thanksgiving picks, and
yes, sir.
We Thanksgiving movies aren't the easiest thing to find, and we had some kind of semi-unconventional Halloween movies, so I figured I could pick a somewhat unconventional Thanksgiving movie.
Sure.
Because
as long as it's a Thanksgiving movie, you're fine.
It takes place on Thanksgiving.
Oh boy.
But I don't know if it's about Thanksgiving, but we watched He Never Died and Darkman, so why can't we watch The Last Waltz next week?
The Last Waltz?
Yeah, the band's final performance on Thanksgiving Day, 1976. The ticket included a Thanksgiving dinner. It's a Martin Scorsese film. I don't really care about the band, but it's a good movie. So
okay, all right. Well,
I know it's a weird one.
Well, I'm going to give you one that probably isn't necessarily. I don't think it happens on Thanksgiving either. However,
they are hard to find.
One of the things about a Thanksgiving movie and a Christmas movie is that during Thanksgiving and Christmas, you want to find a movie that everybody can watch. That everybody can sit down, right? So that your MAGA uncle doesn't have something that sets him off.
Hell or High Water.
Yes. Hell or High Water. Now you're getting it. So I have this one, and it is My Cousin Vinny.
I knew it. Nice.
And My Cousin Vinny,
a lot. It needs to come on the shows.
It needs to come on the show. I've talked about it a bunch. There's another one that's very much like this that we might get to at some point. But My Cousin Vinny is probably, in my opinion, the most family-friendly movie that you could ever have. I mean, and without being a trite family movie, right? Without being Home Alone with a cute little kid, or without being something else where they're really trying to drive Christmas Story, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where they're really trying to drive home the feel good.
My dog.
This is completely different. Yeah, exactly. This is completely different, but it's still, it's still a movie that I think the whole family can watch, and I think that's Thanksgiving in and of itself.
That's an excellent choice, because sometimes dead is better. No, that's a different Fred Gwynn movie.
Wow. And Fred Gwynn is awesome in this movie.
I'm glad it's happening before 100. That feels like one that needs to be in the.
Yeah, it needed to be right up there, close to it, right? And this is I'm really glad that 100 is coming close to the end of the season where we can kind of do this, because it's going to work. So yeah, so Last Waltz, My Cousin Vinny. It's going to be a very interesting mix.
Yeah, more nihilistic, cocaine-fueled 70s mixed with some of the more happier early 90s vibe. And
that's
more
right.
debate next week too, I think so.
Yeah. Well,
she won. I don't know about Last Waltz, but I know Marissa Tomei won for.
That's right. No, she did. You're absolutely right. She won for Best Supporting Actress in this.
Just so unusual for a comedy.
And she's so young too.
What won Best Picture the year Hell and High Water was nominated?
Best Picture Oscar 2016 went to Spotlight.
No, I've never seen it.
You never seen Spotlight?
No, so that was a movie that was up against Hell or High Water?
Yeah, Spotlight's about a true story about a newspaper and their attempts to expose the predatory child abuse in Catholic Church.
Oh, wow. Well, of course that wins. What were the other nominees that year?
Let's see. It was Inside Out, The Martian, Straight Outta Compton, The Revenant, Mad Max Fury Road, Creed, Bridge of Spies.
Oh, God. So they really were just, if it was a big movie, they were throwing it up there. That was kind of about the time I checked out of the Oscars because, it really is about campaigning and money.
I think that's right. Hang on.
And we're going to watch every single one of them next week.
That's right. It's going to be awesome. Hang on a second. Maybe I was wrong. Best Picture. No, Spotlight. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Spotlight, The Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, Room. I think Room, she won Best Actress for The Room.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Not the Room.
Oh, Chris and Ray's old band.
Right. What is this feeling? I'm not believing. Sorry. Wow. So we could do this for another 30 minutes on the podcast, guys, but I think we should probably get out of here instead. You want to go out on a quote?
I've never met nobody who got away with anything ever.
Sorry, I'm still laughing. Hold on, where is it? Okay. You Rangers are an odd bunch.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Let's get out of here, man. Later. Don't miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, like us on YouTube, or give us a 5-star rating on the podcast app of your choice.